G'day, I'm Brendan Wing and welcome to YouFishTV. Tonight's show, we're going to start in my lounge room on a Monday night and we're going to get on the laptop and we're going to show you a very, very important tool that all game fishermen should use or at least know about. Check this out. This website is called seasurface.com. I'm going to hit this button here and go into the subscribers section, and I pay an annual subscription to be a member of this site. Obviously I've got to log on. Winga. Password's already in there, and log on. Okay, once we're inside, we're confronted with thumbnail images down the left hand side of the screen, giving us a heap of options of satellite thermal imaging maps. What they do is they show us the sea temperature of all the regions around Australia. All we're going to do is pick one that's in the area that we want, that hasn't got clouds. And if I look down here, that one there, if you look down here, there is no clouds around the southeast part of Australia. So I'm going to go in there and have a look. Now we've got a usable map in a JavaScript. Okay, what we do is we use the selection tool. We pick the area we want to look at. We want to look at Southeast Australia. We highlight it with that box. We go up to this, zoom into selected area, and there we go. Tasmania, Flinders Island, Mallacoota, Port Phillip Bay, and this red water, that is hot water called the EAC, the East Australian Current. And it actually pushes down all year round, southward down the east coast of Australia, but about this time of year, January, February, March, it pushes a little bit further than normal and actually pushes into Bass Strait and even sometimes down the east coast of Tasmania. And as you can see, this big body of warm water is starting to push into the state. Let's zoom in even closer. Zoom to selected area. Now what we want to do is we want to optimize the colours on the page, so every water gradient on that page is about to be reshuffled from coldest blue to hottest red. And there we go. That's very cold water in there. That would be green water. This would be green water. This would be a clear blue water pushing down the east coast of Australia. This is what we wanted to see. This is what I've been waiting for months and months, to wait to see this to happen. Why? Because this can contain anything. Marlin, mahi-mahi, yellowfin tuna, striped tuna, bonito, even wahoo, who knows, cobia. The possibilities are endless. How is this in relation to the shelf? Let's show you. Down this button here, we can go depth on. And there we go. There's the contour lines at the bottom, and that pink line represents the continental shelf. But that's not all this does. It doesn't just show you visually where the water is. You click this button here, it says show and hide temperature. And I can come out with the cursor and actually move it around and look at the water temperature. Here we got 18.5, 18.6. Over here in the red water, 21.8. That's really warm. That is enough water temperature to carry black marlin, blue marlin, and striped marlin. Okay, so somewhere between there and there is a current break, and you actually see roughly where it is. We hit this button over here called Enhance Image, and actually 3D the whole image, and actually lift higher the warmer and drop the cold water lower, and you'll get contoured hard edges here. Now look at that right there, 19.4. 20.4. There's a degree water temperature right there in the area of about a kilometre. So somewhere in there's a hard edge, and it goes right down here towards this canyon. And I would imagine over the next few days, by the time we get there Saturday, this hot body of water might have moved right over to here to the Everard Canyon. So I'd say that's where we'll probably head to. And if we don't find nothing here, we will then move out until we find it, or move in until we find it. But we know where to look. It's coming, we'll be there, and hopefully it's got marlin in it. Obviously in the cold water you're going to have your plankton and your bait. In the hot water, you're going to have your predators zigzagging in and out, and that's where we have to be. Range from Cape Comorin boat ramp, we click it once, we pull this out here to Everard Canyon, down the bottom here to 54 k's. At that point, we'll probably start trolling, and we'll probably move out this way up to 70 k's out. If we find nothing there, we'll probably come back and move in and out until we find it. But we know it's coming, we know what to look for. Hot meets cold. And obviously, let's say I wanted to go today or tomorrow morning to that exact spot, 19.7 degrees, where it goes into 20.4 degrees, somewhere here. Where was it? There. We can get coordinates down here, GPS coordinates. We can put them in the GPS and race straight to it. Very, very handy tool, and very important, because we're actually working at finding these marlin, and this is our best friend. We've been waiting for this. Here it comes. Let's get it on. Okay, so we talk about a current break. We've just been out the shelf for quite some time. We've decided to come in. There's no bait out there, so we thought if we go in towards land, at some point there will be a current break. You want to know what one looks like? This is your classic sign, a foam bubble trail. This side of the water's calm, the other side of the water's sort of stippled and sort of turbid. The wind's running the east and the current's running on the east on the south side, and here we go, here's the current break. Right here. And that's what it looks like. Look at that. As far as the eye can see in either direction. And it actually drops a couple of points in the temperature. So this is a good place. If we don't get nothing here in 10 minutes or 20 minutes, we're probably going to nick off because we're running low on fuel and we don't want to do the irresponsible thing and run out. Oh, we finally found some bait. Okay, so here's our plan. We're just going to zigzag in and out of the cold and back into the warm and back into the cold, into the warm, over that foam trail along this current break and sort of work up and down for a couple of Ks. And the idea is the green, colder water is nutrient rich and holds all the bait schools. The marlin travel in the warmer water. And both the marlin and the bait can swim out and get warm or swim in and get cool, and they can moderate their temperature. It's just a hive activity around these current breaks, and that is why we're going to stay here. It's the only sign of life we've seen out here.
Quick, it's a big fish. Tell me when you want me to press the pull up.
The big fish, come on. To the right, turn around.
It's deflating, isn't it?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
I mean, it's special that we did what we just did in Victorian waters.
Yes.
I don't think we expected to hook a blue straight up, did we?
No.
And we didn't expect it to take 700 metres, 600 metres of line on us straight up. This spool was looking like it was going to get emptied if we didn't do something about it. That was a big, big fish.
Yeah, well, I've seen him jump 3 or 4 times.
Well, this is YouFishTV. We're always at the cutting edge, but we try to be where it's at. And it doesn't get more cutting edge than venturing out on your own 70 k's from the nearest boat ramp into Bass Strait on the edge of the Tasman over the continental shelf. And it's the unknown. We didn't know there was marlin out here, but guess what? There is.
I only know of 2 marlin that have been caught in Victoria. I'm sure there could be more, but I know of 2. They launched out of Port Albert, but they were fishing in Tasmanian waters. Neil Blunden got one, and Bondi, another fella who's always down the Port Albert pub, he got one as well with Neil. But they were definitely in Tassie, so and they were both striped marlin. So this is the first blue marlin that I know of that's been hooked in Victoria. I don't know if there's any more. There could have been, but
And how short are you, mate?
oh, mate, I've seen it out of the water 4 times, and it was definitely a blue marlin without any doubt. And the way it run would suggest the same as well. So, definitely a blue, mate. Yeah, I've seen him tail walk forward. You were all that busy running around trying to get cameras and that going. I was the only one that seen it. So, yeah, all I had to do was steer. I had the easy job.
Oh, look over my shoulder.
Yeah, you keep jumping, mate.
You seen him at the back?
Yep.
Victorian marlin fishing! Yes! I am, mate. Get the harness.
Wait. Get the rod clear.
There's the line tight.
Well, Daddy, well!
Woohoo! Harness when you're ready.
Unbelievable.
Again, we're inexperienced. We don't know really what to do. There's no better way to learn to do anything in life but just go and do it and make failures and make stuff-ups. We made one huge one already today. This is not a... is this a blue marlin? I think it's a stripe, this one. Plenty of pressure on that fish because I've got plenty here, so he'd have plenty.
That's up, that's down.
Yeah. All right.
You just rest, and we're gonna wear the fish out while you rest. We're gonna wear the fish out for you. So if we're going enough, you've got to slow down. You've got to keep this line tight while
It's tight, mate.
he has a rest.
Oh, I've dropped him.
There's nothing we can. That's just.
Dropped him. Nothing we could do, guys. They were doing everything right that time. We had full load on that fish. He was swimming with us.
It's lure fishing, mate.
You know what? How awesome is it watching it anyway and being experienced in it?
Oh, mate.
At least there was no hue and error that time. We did everything beautifully.
Yes, and Benny, he was hooked up right in the middle of that current break.
Yeah. We filmed the hookup, Horsey.
That's Cape Connor right there.
Okay. Well, we did nothing wrong. That's just bleeder worn through by a big fish. Nothing we could have done about that, mate, eh? Well, there you go. Who would have thought marlin fishing on tap like that in Victorian waters? And all because of a little bit of current pushing into Bass Strait called the EAC. Well, not just a little bit of current, a lot of current. And so it's such fascinating stuff. I thought I'd ask Dallas De Silva in from the DPI, and in particular, what department are you from, buddy?
I'm from the Victorian Department of Primary Industries and Fisheries Victoria, and I'm working in a climate change program called the Southeast Australia program for the whole of the southeast, and it's basically a partnership arrangement between state and Commonwealth fishery management and fisheries science agencies in that region, all looking at climate change impacts for fisheries, how we can work with the stakeholders to manage risks but also take advantage of opportunities.
We've seen the opportunities right there. Mate, obviously if they're taking it pretty seriously up the top there, is that because you're seeing something or noticing something that is out of the ordinary?
Certainly, the East Australian current is a phenomenon. That's the only way to describe it. It's what's happened with East Australian current over the last 50 years is quite amazing. It's pushing another 350 kilometres further south than it used to, pushing that warm, salty water further south. The predictions are that that's going to continue, and it's going to push even further south over the next 50 years, increasing by about 20% by the end of the century.
20% range or 20% strength and power, or
20% in strength and location of where it's
and
going to
range.
push down. That's
Yeah.
right. So one of the things that's going to result in, as you know, as you've been very quick to observe, is this whole concept of range extensions.
Yeah.
And species boundaries are a thing of the past in many ways. There's so much change that's going to occur, that has been occurring with what you might call traditional species boundaries, and where fish have been caught in the past. And Marlin's certainly one example of that, now being found off eastern Victoria.
It's amazing. So it's not just about Victoria, there's opportunities obviously right along the southeastern area. You've got New South Wales obviously getting a lot more Queensland fish, we're getting a lot of New South Wales fish, obviously Tasmania would be getting a lot of Victorian fish. Has there been any evidence of that happening in Tasmania?
There has, yes. Certainly they're catching a lot more snapper in Tasmania these days. Also King George whiting and kingfish as well. The
Yes.
kingfish are really making a comeback, or being found in new areas off Tasmania, and really supporting new fisheries in those sort of areas.
We talked about redmap.org last week, which is a website for reporting unusual captures. It's not a government web page, is it? It's how would you describe that page?
It's really a community-based, what we call citizen science reporting tool. There's some really interesting observations reported to that website already. Coral trout being caught in Tasmania, believe it or not. A Queensland groper as well, off one of the dive sites in Victorian. So again, that's just trying to build a picture, using the knowledge that's there amongst the recreational fishers. They can get onto the website, they can report what they're seeing, and over time it builds a really good picture of the changes that are happening out there on the water.
And one of the things I was going to mention why I brought up RedMap is because I also know on RedMap there was kingfish reported in the Derwent.
That's right.
In Tasmania. And this year, the EAC, just after we filmed that show, the EAC pushed even further west into Victoria, then down right past Tassie and off the bottom of Tasmania. It went down that far, carried all that hot water down there. And Eagle Hawk Neck, which is known for cold water southern bluefin tuna fishing, had one of the most epic seasons on large yellowfin tuna. Would you believe? In January and February and March, amazing stuff. So it is happening, mate. That's what we're saying.
That's right. So that's evidence happening out there on the water that recreational fishers are observing. And we're very keen to access that information, to harness that knowledge, to work with the stakeholders to make sure that there is fish for the future.
That's right. So this is not just about collecting information to use against us. Let's face it, mate. Without fishing, you don't have a job. And without fishing, I don't have a job. And without fishing, life gets pretty boring for 1 million people or so. And obviously it's a big money thing. It turns over a lot of money for the government, and a lot of small communities rely on fishing. Absolutely. So you understand all that, and obviously that's the idea here. You want to make sure that we understand it, we embrace it, we enhance it, we work it, we build it, we develop it, and obviously, just things like creating better access on the east coast, so we can get out there and access this fishing, but at the same time you're obviously conscious of not over-exploiting it. Yeah,
there's some terrific fishing opportunities out there, and we want to look after them just as much as, of course, the recreational fishers do. So that's our role, to make sure that there is fish for the future. It's not something we can do by ourselves. We need a lot of help and a lot of support from the recreational fishers, and we're very pleased to be able to have that. And that's what RedMap is. People see unusual captures or catch things that are clearly out of their range or normal range that you would expect them to be in. We can report that, and obviously that's one of the things we want to promote tonight is RedMap. So you're from the South East Australia Climate Change Program. Who else is involved in that? We've got a great team of departments and agencies involved in that, from CSIRO to the Fisheries Management and Science Agencies in South Australia, New South Wales, Tasmania, Victoria. Also other Commonwealth departments such as the Department of Agriculture, Fisheries and Forestry, the Australian Fisheries Management Authority. Yeah, the list goes on. It's really the first time that all the different agencies involved in fisheries management and science across the southeast have come together to tackle this issue, working together with the fishers. Because you see a lot of opportunity, don't you? We do, yeah. And that's why I got him on tonight, because I can't possibly explain what he's just explained to you. All I know is, as an angler, it's exciting. And who else, after watching last week's show and this week's show, is excited about next season? I've got to equal the score big time.
Well, I think we've said enough. I think it's about time we got on with some fishing again on the show. Dallas De Silva, thank you very much for coming on and explaining a little bit about rain shift and climate change and how it relates to fishing.
Thank you, and thanks for the opportunity to communicate this with all the anglers and the fishers out there that love watching your show.
There. Well, I'll tell you what, lovely bloke. I trust him. You should trust him. And I'll tell you what, we're now putting the message out there. This is happening. Know it. Okay.